She saw me. She looked me dead in the eyes, and she still clinked her glass with his. Right then and there, I swear, something in me just cracked. I didn't plan to be at the venue. I didn't even know where the party was until her coworker accidentally mentioned it on a speakerphone call she didn't know I overheard. I wasn't stalking. I wasn't spying. I was just tired of being lied to. I parked 2 blocks away. I walked in through the loading dock, like some backstage extra in her movie life. I stood in the hallway behind the ballroom, just outside the gold-trimmed doors. And then I saw her, my wife, at a table lit like a spotlight, laughing with her head tilted back, hair falling perfectly like it does when she wants attention, leaning toward a man I didn't recognize, his hand on her chair, her hand on her wine glass. Her smile stretched just a little too wide. It wasn't the look of someone being polite. It was the look of someone who had already made a decision, and I wasn't part of it. I didn't make a scene. I didn't walk in or call her name. I just stood there, holding the house keys she left behind on the counter that morning, like it didn't matter anymore. When I turned and left, it wasn't out of rage. It was surrender. And the next morning, I didn't say a word. Not when she came home and tiptoed past the living room. Not when she pretended to stretch and yawn like she'd just crashed at me as from exhaustion. Not even when she asked me if I wanted pancakes like everything was normal. I just walked past her, picked up my phone, sat outside in the cold. The silence didn't hurt her right away. But by noon, she started asking questions. By 3, she was panicking. By nightfall, I wasn't the one breaking. She was. And that's when she confessed something that made my stomach twist. I didn't even mean to hear it. I was standing in the hallway with my coat half on, trying to decide whether to leave the house entirely or just take another pointless walk around the neighborhood. I didn't even want to be there. Not with her. Not after everything I saw. But then her phone lit up on the kitchen counter. She was in the bathroom, humming, actually humming, like she wasn't unraveling our marriage thread by thread. It wasn't the message that shocked me. It was how casual it was. A simple notification from a guy named Avery, someone she mentioned once or twice before. She said he worked in events. Just a friend. She said that a lot lately. Just a friend. I didn't touch her phone. I didn't need to. The preview alone told me enough. Last night was perfect. I haven't seen you laugh like that in forever. You were glowing. No emojis. No hearts. Just raw. Honest. Dangerous. I stood there, breathing through my nose like I was keeping myself from imploding. She stepped out of the bathroom wearing that oversized sleep shirt I bought her for our 3rd anniversary, the one with the faded constellation print. She used to wear it when she missed me. Now, I guess it was just laundry rotation. She looked at me like nothing happened. You okay? She asked, tucking her hair behind her ear like she cared. I almost laughed. Am I okay? Instead, I walked right past her and went out the front door without a word. No shoes. Just socks on cold concrete. I sat on the porch swing and stared into the fog rolling down the street. I didn't cry. Not yet. But something inside me was doing this slow, twisting collapse, like a building that had been quietly on fire for years. 15 minutes later, she followed me out. Are we doing this? Really? She asked. The silent treatment again? I didn't answer. She sat beside me, not close, just on the edge. She looked nervous. Good. She should have. She pulled her knees up to her chest and rested her chin on them. Marshall, come on. It was just a party. I said nothing. She sighed. Okay, fine. You want the truth? That word. Truth. It hit me like a slap. She looked off into the dark, like she couldn't say it directly to my face. I had a drink. Maybe 3. Avery was there. He made a stupid joke about our wedding dance. It made me laugh. That's it. Our wedding dance. He made a joke about that. That meant he knew about it. That meant she'd told him about us. About me. The way she used to look at me on that night. The song. The way her dad cried. She was giving those memories away like souvenirs. I finally spoke, my voice barely holding together. So you're close enough now to joke about our wedding? Her face changed. Just for a second. Like she realized how badly she screwed up. Then she tried to backtrack. I mean, it came up. It wasn't planned. Don't twist this into something it's not. That was the moment I realized she wasn't sorry. Not really. She was sorry she got caught in a lie too small to hide anymore. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay there in bed while she curled up beside me like nothing was different. I could smell the hotel's perfume in her hair, not hers. The kind they pump into the air vents. It reminded me of Betrayal. At 3:14 a.m., while she was asleep, I picked up her phone. I didn't scroll. I didn't go through her apps. I just stared at the lock screen. And then, without thinking, I whispered to myself, what if she's already gone? What if she's just pretending to stay? And suddenly, the real question hit me. What am I still doing here? The next morning, I pretended to still be asleep when she kissed my forehead and said she was going to brunch with the girls. I'll be back in a few hours, she said, like nothing was broken. Like she hadn't ripped a hole in our life and expected me to just patch it up with coffee and small talk. As soon as I heard the front door close, I sat up and stared at the ceiling fan, watching it spin like my thoughts. I should have felt like a creep for what I was about to do. But I didn't. I felt hollow, detached, like I was just collecting evidence at a crime scene I'd already been murdered at. So I went into the bathroom, opened the cabinet under the sink, and pulled out her old phone, the one she stopped using after she cracked the screen last year. She said she was going to get it repaired, but never did. I kept it in the drawer because I'd meant to recycle it. It still powered on. No password. And that's when I saw it. The synced backup from her current phone. Messages. Notes. Photos. All there. Like the past year had been archived, just waiting to betray her. I opened her messages. Not to Avery. I already knew enough about him. But to the one place I never thought to look. The group chat. Titled, Queen's Only Kiss Mark. I expected harmless stuff. Memes. Gossip. Maybe the usual ugh men venting. But what I found, they'd been planning that party night for weeks. Kira had sent photos of dresses to vote on. They joked about which one made her look most single. There was a clip of her trying on the burgundy dress in the boutique mirror, captioned, Marshall's gonna hate this smiling face with horns. And the worst part wasn't what she said. It was what her friends said. You better not chicken out this time. Get that man to finally make a move. Don't come home unless you're sore smirking face. I dropped the phone. Literally. It slipped out of my hands like it burned. There was no doubt anymore. This wasn't just a mistake. This wasn't alcohol. This wasn't her being caught up in the moment. This was premeditated. The betrayal had fingerprints. And the more I read, the more I realized they didn't respect me. Not just her. None of them. I was a punchline in her private life. The boring husband. The one who stays home like a golden retriever. That's what one of her co-workers called me. And she didn't defend me. She just replied, LMFAO stop. I'm crying face with tears of joy. She was laughing at me while I was grocery shopping for her, picking up her oat milk, folding her laundry, paying for her car service. She was laughing while I was loving her. I felt sick. I wanted to scream. I wanted to wake up from whatever this twisted version of my marriage had become. Instead, I sat on the edge of the bathtub, staring at nothing, while my ears rang with blood pressure and betrayal. I held the old phone in my lap like it was a grenade. By the time she came home, all bubbly and hungover from mimosas, I'd already made a decision. I didn't yell. I didn't throw the phone in her face. I just asked one question, as calmly as I could. Do you think I'm stupid, Kira? She froze in the doorway, grocery bag in hand, keys dangling from her fingers. She knew. And for the first time, she didn't have anything to say. That silence. It told me more than any confession ever could. She stood there holding a bag of oranges like we were still a married couple. Like I hadn't just spent the last hour staring into the wreckage of our relationship through her old phone. Her expression went stiff, but her mouth tried to play catch-up with a lie. Marshall, what are you talking about? I just stared at her, not blinking, not yelling. The kind of stare that made her shuffle her feet like a child caught stealing candy. I didn't answer. I just left the room and went to my office. Closed the door, not slamming it, just clicked it shut. Quiet things scare narcissists more than rage. I sat down, hands still shaking, and opened my laptop. I wasn't sure what I was doing. I had no plan, just instinct. Betrayal makes you weirdly productive. I started writing an email to her HR department. Why? Because 2 nights ago, I heard her joking on a call with one of the girls, saying Dane, her boss, had a type, and she was playing the long game. They laughed like high schoolers. Except it wasn't high school. It was corporate, married, messy. I didn't send the email. Not yet. I just saved the draft. That evening, we didn't talk. She kept pacing, checking her phone, checking mine. She could feel the air had shifted, but she didn't know why. Her anxiety was rising, and I'll be honest, for once, it wasn't mine. I ate my dinner like she wasn't even there. She made hers, but didn't touch it. Her hands were shaking. She finally snapped. What's going on with you? I stood up, grabbed her old phone from my hoodie pocket, and placed it on the counter between us. Her face drained. I didn't even have to say a word. That cracked screen said everything. She reached for it slowly, like it might explode. When she unlocked it and saw the app still open to the group chat, she dropped her hand and whispered, "How long have you?" "Since before the party," I said. "Since the moment you told me it was just work." She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just shut down. It was kind of terrifying. She went completely still, eyes locked on the screen, mouth open slightly. Then, barely audible, she muttered, "You weren't supposed to see that." I'm sorry. It wasn't true. Just, you weren't supposed to see it. That's when I knew she was never planning to stop. She wasn't torn. She wasn't confused. She was exposed. I stepped closer, my voice shaking now, and asked, "Was it just flirting, Kira? Or did something actually happen?" She didn't answer. She just stared down at the phone, like maybe the screen would start lying for her. So I asked again, quieter this time. Still no answer. That silence, it was worse than a yes. Worse than a confession. Because it meant I wasn't worth the truth. I wasn't worth a clean ending. She was willing to let me sit in the dark forever, just so she could keep what she had. I walked past her, toward the stairs. She followed. I stopped. Then I said something I didn't even plan. "I've already packed a bag." She flinched. "What?" "I'm leaving for a few days." Her voice broke a little. "You can't just—" "Wait, Marshall. Come on. Don't make this bigger than it is. Please." I turned to look at her one last time before I left. "You already did." Then I walked out the door. I didn't have a hotel booked. I didn't even know where I was going. I just knew I couldn't breathe inside that house anymore. But I wasn't gone for good. Not yet. Because what she did while I was gone, that changed everything. I didn't go far. Just 40 minutes north, to a cheap little motel off the interstate with flickering hallway lights and a vending machine that only took quarters. I brought a duffel bag, my laptop, and the last ounce of self-respect I hadn't handed over to her in the past 6 years. I didn't text her. I didn't answer when she called. And I certainly didn't open the voice notes she started sending on the second night. I just let them pile up, one after another, like raindrops tapping on a window you've already locked shut. The first 24 hours, she was quiet. Too quiet. That scared me more than anything, because Kira was never the type to go silent. Ever. She always had a comeback, a defense, a guilt trip, a tear or two ready to weaponize. But not this time. Then the shift came. Day 2, 11:38 a.m. She called me 11 times in a row. I muted my phone and watched her name light up the screen until it finally gave up and dimmed. 2 hours later, I got a text from her sister. Just 2 words. "She's spiraling." I didn't respond. I didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't trying to play games or manipulate her emotions. I just needed distance. I needed her to sit in the mess she made without me there to mop it up. That evening, she sent a photo. I hesitated before opening it. I don't even know why I did. Maybe part of me hoped it was an apology letter or something symbolic. But no, it was a picture of the wedding ring I gave her, lying in the center of our dining table. No caption, no explanation. Just that cold little circle of metal on a hardwood surface that used to mean forever. I should have felt devastated. I should have broken down. But I didn't. I felt relief. She wanted to unburden herself of the commitment? Good. That made 2 of us. But here's where it gets messy. At 2:17 a.m. that night, my phone buzzed again, this time with a voicemail. I put it on speaker and listened in the dark. Her voice was frantic. Not emotional, unhinged. "Marshall, you need to call me back. Right now? I'm serious. Something happened. Please. This isn't about us anymore. I made a mistake. I messed up so bad. I didn't mean to. You don't understand." She choked on the last part. Then silence. Then the call cut out. No follow-up. No text. Just that. And maybe I should have jumped in the car. Maybe I should have checked if she was okay. But I didn't. Because all I could think was, now you want me to listen? Now, after the jokes, the group chat, the gaslighting? Now, when your house of cards finally collapses. Still, a voice in the back of my head kept whispering, what if it's serious? So, the next morning, I drove back. Not to save her. Just to see what kind of fire she was trying to drag me into now. And when I opened the door, she was sitting on the floor in the living room. Eyes puffy. Laptop open. A bottle of wine spilled across the rug. And a look on her face that wasn't sad or sorry. It was terrified. Before I could speak, she turned the screen toward me and said, He recorded everything. And just like that, everything I thought I knew about the betrayal changed. Because now, someone else was in control. The moment she turned that laptop screen toward me, I knew something was wrong in a way that was bigger than just us. Her hands were shaking. Her lips looked dry, like she'd been mouthing the same sentence for hours but couldn't get it out loud. I didn't move at first. I just looked at the screen, not at her. There was a paused video on it, time-stamped 1:13 a.m., with the grainy thumbnail of a dimly lit hotel hallway. Security footage. I stepped closer. She clicked play with the side of her finger like she didn't want to touch the keyboard at all. The clip showed her, unmistakably her, laughing in that same burgundy dress, the one I begged her not to wear. She was pressed up against a wall. And Avery was there too. Only it wasn't playful. It wasn't sweet. It was messy. Hands where they didn't belong. Voices too loud. And then, the worst part, she pulled away and looked right into the camera. Smiled. Winked. I felt my stomach seize like it had turned to glass, and someone dropped it down a staircase. Where did this come from? I asked, my throat suddenly dry. She swallowed hard. Dane sent it to me. Last night. Your boss. She nodded slowly, eyes darting like a trapped animal. He said he was reviewing the venue footage because there were complaints about noise on our floor. But the way he wrote the message, he wasn't just letting me know. He was warning me. Marshall, he has the original copy. I don't know who else he's shown. I stepped back. This wasn't just an affair anymore. It was leverage, blackmail, office gossip, career-ending potential. And honestly, I should have felt triumphant. Like karma had finally made a U-turn. But all I felt was disgust. You weren't even trying to hide it, I said. You were posing for the camera. I didn't know it was there, she snapped, instantly defensive, like the woman who gaslit me for months had suddenly returned. I'd had too much to drink. I raised my hand to stop her. Don't blame it on the alcohol. You planned that night. You laughed about it. You invited it in. She broke then. The fight drained out of her, and she slid down onto the floor, arms wrapped around her knees like a kid in detention. I'd never seen her look smaller. I think he's going to use it, she said quietly. Dane. He's hinted at things. About me owing him. I think he's going to try to make me do things. Or else he shows this to the board. Or his wife. Or posts it. I sat down across from her. Not to comfort her, but to process. Because now I was in possession of a video that proved her betrayal, and simultaneously, a threat that might implode her life. And part of me, a dark, hurt, exhausted part, wanted to let it happen. Just sit back and let it all burn. The same way she let me burn when she looked at another man and laughed. But I didn't. Because I realized something in that moment. She might have wrecked us. She might have torn our marriage to pieces. But if I let this happen without saying anything, I wasn't just stepping out of the fire. I was becoming the one who lit it. So I stood up, grabbed the laptop, and said, email it to me. She looked up, startled. Why? Because I'm going to handle it. Her voice cracked. Marshall, what are you going to do? I didn't answer. Not because I didn't know, but because I did. And what I was about to do next would hit both of them harder than they ever expected. The moment she emailed me the footage, I saved it in 3 different cloud drives. Not because I wanted to blackmail anyone. I wasn't Dane. But because I knew the moment I stepped into this next phase, the truth might start getting rewritten. And this time, I needed my version backed by facts, not tears. I didn't tell Kira what I was going to do. I didn't know her that anymore. She sat on the couch, arms wrapped around herself like she thought looking small enough would make me forget. I didn't. Instead, I left without another word, drove 2 miles to a park with open Wi-Fi, and typed up one of the hardest emails I've ever written. Not to her company. Not to Dane. To Dane's wife. I found her professional email on his firm's website. She ran a local nonprofit, all heart and smiles and community. A woman who probably baked cookies for fundraisers while her husband was cornering junior employees in ballroom corridors. I didn't send the video. That would have crossed a line I wasn't ready to erase. But I described exactly what I saw. I told her there was security footage, that her husband had it, that my wife was in it, that I wasn't looking for drama, just truth. I signed my name. No threats. No accusations. Just a digital torch, handed gently. Then I closed the laptop, sat in the silence of my car, and waited. 3 hours passed before I got a reply. It wasn't long. Just a single sentence. Thank you for telling me. I already suspected. That hit harder than anything else. Because it meant Kira wasn't special. She wasn't the exception. She was just next. The next girl to fall for a powerful man with a weak soul. And suddenly, the rage I had toward her started to shift. Not into forgiveness, not even close, but into clarity. She had humiliated me, lied to me, betrayed me over and over. But Dane, he cultivated this. He used authority like a weapon. And when things got messy, he filmed it. Not to protect himself, but to control her. But now, the control was slipping. And I could tell, because the next day, Kira got a call from HR. I watched from the hallway while she took it. Her face drained of color, her hands trembling as she gripped the phone like a lifeline. She said, "Yes, a lot. Then I understand. Then thank you. Then nothing." When she hung up, she just stared at the wall. "They're launching an internal review," she said quietly. I didn't speak. I just waited. She looked at me. And for the first time since this started, she didn't try to manipulate me. Didn't blame me. Didn't cry. She just said, "You told someone, didn't you?" I nodded. "I had to," I said. "Someone needed to do the right thing. And clearly, it wasn't going to be you." Her voice cracked. "I think I'm going to lose my job." I looked her dead in the eyes. "You lost a lot more than that." And I walked away. Not storming out. Just done. Because the worst kind of betrayal isn't when someone cheats on you. It's when they watch everything fall apart and still choose silence. But I wasn't silent anymore. A week passed. Then 2. She stopped sleeping in the bedroom. I didn't tell her to. She just started dragging the spare blanket to the couch every night. Maybe out of guilt. Maybe because deep down, she knew I wasn't hers anymore. We still lived under the same roof, but it felt like 2 strangers squatting in a memory neither of us believed in. Her job didn't fire her, not right away. But they restructured her team, moved her to a different office, reassigned her title. She came home the day it happened, trying to explain the details like I cared. I didn't. I just nodded. She stopped talking halfway through and went to bed early. The old Kira, the loud, proud, sarcastic one, was gone. In her place was someone quieter, smaller. But it didn't matter anymore. Because I was changing too. I started seeing a therapist. Not because of her. Because of me. Because I'd let so much slide over the years, let myself become the background music in my own life. And for what? To be the stable one? To be the man who folded her laundry while she texted other men under the dinner table? No more. I also took a job offer I'd been putting off for months, a remote cybersecurity role based out of Seattle. Higher pay, new city, new start. I signed the contract before I even told her. I didn't make a big speech. I just sat her down one morning, poured us both coffee, and said, "I'm moving out next week. My lease is signed. I'll be gone before Friday." She didn't cry. Not at first. She just whispered, "Is there someone else?" I laughed, not bitter, just tired. "No," I said. "There's just finally me." She did cry then. And for a moment, I almost reached for her hand. Almost. But I didn't. Because that chapter was closed. Friday came. I packed light. Only the things that belonged to me. I left behind the wedding photo, the anniversary card, even the hoodie she always stole from me. I didn't want relics. I wanted peace. And when I walked out of the house I paid for, the house I fought for, I didn't look back. Not once. Now I wake up in a 1-bedroom apartment with more sunlight than silence. I cook my own breakfast. I read again. I sleep better. Sometimes I even laugh without warning. She still texts me sometimes. Just updates. Little things. I don't reply. Not out of spite. Out of healing. Because this wasn't a story of revenge. It was a story of someone finally realizing they were allowed to walk away from being treated like an option. I didn't destroy her. I simply stopped saving her. And I've never felt more free.